ओम शांति। I believe everyone is on mute.
Hello, is anyone on the session?
Yeah, we all are there.
Can't hear anything.
the session, please. Okay, great. Hello, everyone is able to, are you able to hear me? Because I think some were not able to hear either the music. So I just want to make sure I'm audible.
Yeah, you are audible, Mukesh.
Awesome, great. We'll try to get started on time next time. We're just making sure everyone is able to join in the WebEx call. So good morning for some, good afternoon for some of you. Welcome to the as usual, we'll start with a mind empowerment technique. Before we do that, is there anyone who's joining this session for the first time? If you can please unmute yourself and introduce yourself, that'll be great.
Hello, Dr. Mukesh. So, Omkar here.
Good afternoon, Omkar. So, Omkar, can you briefly describe yourself? Like, what are you in IT? How many years in IT and your current title, or what title are you seeking? And why? What is your motivation for joining this course? That'll be helpful because last week we assigned roles to each one, so that way you will get the maximum for this course. We created a fictitious retail company, and based on each individual's expectation and what role they want to play, we gave them a role, so that way they will get the most out of this session than the coming session. So if you can briefly introduce yourself, we'll quickly assign you a role, and that way you will be caught up.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I got to attend the last session because of Sanjay sir. So, yeah. Uh, I have like more than 4 years of experience in IT, and currently I'm trying to transition myself into data analyst role. And I further in my career, I want to go into the data science.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Thank you. Anyone else besides Omkar who's joining? So, Omkar, we've got a lot of data analysts on the group. So, you would want to become a data scientist, right? I would assume. So, what I would say is, assume play that role because we become what we think we are. So you're going to play the role of a data scientist because that's what you want to become. So I want you to start thinking like a data scientist. You are a data scientist joining these sessions, right? So how to develop that thinking? How does a data scientist think? What your perspective would be? We'll bring that to it. Now, I understand you are not a data scientist, but that's exactly what we want to achieve so that when you give an interview, you know how a data scientist thinks and how a data scientist talks. But you're going to apply it because otherwise you'll never get that opportunity. No one will give you a job as a data scientist, but they will if you talk and walk like one and say, yes, I am a data scientist, because others will believe in you when you start believing in yourself, right? So you are going to play the role of a data scientist, and I'll help you share that perspective. But that is your role in this fictitious virtual organization. You okay with that?
Yes, it's great. Thank you.
Oh, great, thank you. Anyone else who missed the first session? Because you need to be assigned a role because you're going to actively participate in the class. What we discussed in the previous session, if you haven't got the recording, is that you're not going to just learn by listening in. You are unnecessarily wasting your time, and your time is very valuable. So I want to make sure you're going to get what you desire to achieve from this course. And in order to do that, you need to be actively involved in the course. You need to be able to think what you want to become and apply it. It will help you get that next level which you are seeking in your career. So anyone else would like to introduce and who didn't attend in the first session?
Hi,
Yes.
this is Sunita. Am I
Hi,
audible?
Sunil.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a, I mean, in our company, um, we are, evaluating some ERP systems, and we have roped in one vendor who is going to make it for us. So we need like all the module sales, service, digital marketing, all modules in that. So we have some systems in place, all in different systems, and we are trying to have one whole holistic system. So I need to understand how to migrate from what we currently have and what we need in the new system. So I need to have an understanding of what overall data architecture is, where each data will go in the new system and all that. Just overall, I'll not be actually coding or just an understanding, and that's all.
Yeah, no, there's little less coding. Those who are playing the role of a data analyst, they would need to, code to get experience, but otherwise the project managers, they don't code. So we created a fictitious retail organization, but not all roles are related with coding in IT, because that's usually the perception that if you're in IT, you need to be a good developer. But as long as you know what a programming language is, what it does, that's more than enough. There's no expectation, there's no prerequisite. The only prerequisite is just that, you actively participate in the class. That way you'll get the benefit. So, Sunny, many years of experience in IT, and assume your desire is to understand and be better at your current job. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, not exactly IT. I was in operations, but I've been handling the software part of it, implementing SAP and all that. So total, I have
Okay.
20 years of experience overall. Yes.
Okay. Okay. That sounds great. So, Sunita, what I would suggest is, you can play the role of a project coordinator. Would that be a good fit for you, since you're doing that
Yes,
and you?
yes. Yeah. That's fine.
Okay, perfect. So in our virtual organization, we had
Mukesh bhai,
Dinesh.
can you hear me, Mukesh bhai?
Yes.
Sorry, last week I was traveling in some noisy environment, so I could not actively participate, but I attended the session. But I
Okay.
was not assigned any role. I have
Okay.
30 years of experience in IT industry, in software development and leading test team. That's my job
Okay.
role.
Okay. Sounds good, Ramesh. So, Ramesh, we've got a lot of, I think, 2 or 3 roles related with testing. So, would you like to be the test architect and the test lead that way, or what is your motivation for joining this course?
Keep learning, and the next one I am interested in ML and AI. That will help in my company in future.
Okay. That's good. So, would you like to play the role of a test architect or a test lead, which would help you in your career?
Whatever is required in this team, I will do.
That you're perfect. That shows your experience, because a person with a team player and a lot of team experience would naturally say that. So I'm just explicitly highlighting that for others to know what team player is. A team player will always say what others need rather than what I need. So thank you for showing your team leadership.
Yeah, hello Mukesh.
Yes.
This is Pooja from Rajasthan, Jodhpur, Rajasthan, and I am also working in IT department in big data developer, and I have more than 2 years of experience in that field.
Okay. And what is your desire to learn data architecture, Pooja?
Just want to learn many more things, and just that's it.
Okay, no, that's good. What kind of role are you seeking in your next position? Are you already, you said you're already in IT, right? You've got an IT background.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Mukesh.
Okay. How many years you said?
More than 2 years, about 2.6 years.
And what's your current job title?
Associate developer.
Developer, sorry. Okay. So, what I would suggest is, what would be next level for you if you're learning this course is, if you want to become a data engineer. A data engineer is nothing but a developer who's focused on engineering the movement of the data. That's what a data engineer does. So they are developer who's focused on just data movement. That's what
Yes.
that's what a data engineer would do. So I would suggest, if you play that role that way, It will help you because data engineers are very much in demand. As you know, there's a lot of competition when you're playing the role of a developer. Too much competition. Everyone wants you to know everything, and they expect you to be a great programmer and everything. But if you're a engineer, there's a lot less competition because there are very few data engineers. So taking this course will help you to understand, what data architecture is and what a data engineer does.
Okay, okay. ठीक है.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Hello, it's Puneet here. Also many years of experience in ERP systems. I'm currently working in test managing for many years, just like Ramesh. And I just wanted to join to understand a lot of the data architecture. I've done data migrations and things in the past, and also test managing currently.
Okay, great, Puneet. So, Puneet, what is your desire to join this course? What is your motivation?
Just to understand how data is structured, architecture, because within testing environment and things, you need to migrate data and things. And I have done it in the past, but just for my own understanding and research, I was more curious to understand and join.
Okay, great. So, especially if you've been in data migration projects, this would really help you in
Yeah.
handling large, complex data migrations, migration to cloud, because there's always a need to migrate data. So, I think
Yeah.
putting that testing perspective would be good. So, along with Ramesh, you can play the role of, test architect, test
Yeah.
lead, drive that teams because we've got other junior testers. That way, you would be able to guide them and, they will do that work. The whole idea for these sessions is to, work and think like a team and learn from each other. Right now you're thinking you're learning from me, but the reality is I'm actually learning from each of you. And we always learn from others as well. But the whole spirit is that this is a working collaboration session where we are learning from each other, where no one is better than the other. We just have different experiences. So we are going to learn from each other's experience. You know a lot about testing than I do. But how do we take that experience and apply to data architecture? That we'll share and learn from each other.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Great. Pooja, you had a question?
Hello.
Yes.
No, I
Okay, you
don't
can
have
introduce
any
yourself. Okay, your hand was raised, so that's fine. Okay.
So before
Anyone else?
I
Yes.
introduce myself, that's why
Okay. No.
yeah.
Sounds good. Anyone else left? We covered everyone?
Om
Okay.
Shanti, Manjul
Yes.
here. Actually, last time I joined the session, but I didn't. I was not assigned anything.
Okay. Manjul, can you, I think you were there in the data analysis class, right?
Yeah. I was there.
Okay. And can you just briefly help me, remind me what is the job title that you're seeking and your motivation for this course?
Yeah. Actually, I have a computer background, but I'm not associated with IT industry right now. I have a teaching background.
Okay.
I have worked as assistant professor, so I have a teaching background.
Okay. And currently you are still teaching?
Right now, I'm not working.
Okay.
But I'm
Okay.
actually exploring for some opportunities for myself. So that's why I'm attending these sessions so that I can find something for myself.
You can teach data architecture. There are not that many courses online. So you can learn from it and you can teach data architecture. You will be very busy. So
Okay.
you can take that as a goal.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Savitri, do you want to add anything? Or do you want to introduce yourself? Okay. Savitri's hand was raised. So, okay. Did we cover everyone? Did we miss anyone? Does anyone wants to say anything?
Yeah, Mukesh, I wanted to. It's not related to the position actually. So shall I
Okay.
or?
If you can hold it till the end of the session, we can cover it then.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay, awesome. Okay, let's begin the session. I know new people have joined, so we had to make sure no one is left behind. So what we'll do is, and some of you are new as well. So I'll briefly introduce who we are, what we do, and why we do what it is. So we are the IT wing for Raj Yoga Education Research Foundation. The purpose of Raj Yoga education is to empower ourselves, where we rule over ourselves through our mind, because everything outside, the circumstances are changing. But if we have the knowledge to control the mind, there is no operational manual for life. But if you have that operational manual for life, then you know exactly what to do, when to do, how to do. You're not randomly switching buttons here and there. So we use that knowledge, we use that supreme intelligence, learnings from it, apply it, understand the workings of the mind, and be able to use that knowledge to experience happiness, peace, love, every moment of life. We struggle to achieve that for few moments in life. We want to achieve that constantly all the time. So we share those techniques in these sessions. We start the session with a mind empowerment technique, but essentially it's the same mind, whether it's at work or whether it's at home. We use the power of the mind to drive success in our lives, whether it's in the career life or outside career as well. But use that empowerment of the mind to realize peace, happiness in day-to-day life as well. Education is always should be free. So all our sessions are free of cost. There's never any money involved in it, because our motivation is to share peace, love, and happiness with everyone, where the world is our family. Everyone is part of that family. So you want to make sure you take away that feeling that you are part of a family, and you're truly part of that environment where you're able to not only learn, but you're able to give back to humanity what you've acquired, because what we've given is not ours, but is given by the supreme intelligence. But essentially, that's what we do. Today, our mind empowerment technique, I would like to introduce you to someone very special, with someone you spend a lot of time with, is very unique, is very, very special, but yet you don't know that's special. And that special person, that special entity is actually you. We think we know ourselves by looking at the mirror and say, yes, I know who I am because I have a name, I have a job title, I have a role to play, and I know what I'm doing, and I'm in full control of what I'm doing because I am making all the decisions. So my perception of identity is based on what I see in the mirror. It's based on what others think about me. So 5 people think good about me, I feel good. 2 people don't think good about me, that brings me down. So what I think about myself fluctuates based on other people's perceptions and reactions. And that's what causes instability in our behavior and confuses us as to who we are, because we are constantly fluctuating and not realizing who we are. So example, when we were born as a child, right, we didn't wait for anyone to smile and then we smile back. We naturally smiled, right? We were naturally loving. No one taught us how to love. No one taught us anything. It was very natural to us. That was the natural state. As we grow, our perception of the world, it changes based on what others tell us, what we acquire from others, what we see through the sense organs, what we hear, what we listen, and we acquire those experiences. But a majority of them are based on what our loved and dear ones think about it, or what our friends think about ourselves. And as a result of it, we truly forget who we are. The reason I said it's very special, very, very special, because if you think you're spending most of the time with yourself, there's that inner talk which goes on in the mind, yet we truly don't know who we are. We are constantly seeking validation from others to validate who we are. And when that validation is not as per our expectation, it causes a lot of turmoil and friction, right? So it's very important to understand who we truly are. We are an energy, that consciousness which is driving the body. We are not the body. We are not what we see in the mirror. We are that energy which drives the body. When that energy leaves the body falls drop dead instantly. It starts decaying within few minutes, within few hours. So we are not what we see. We are way more powerful and we are way more unique than what we believe about ourselves. So today in our mind empowerment technique, we have to realize that we are very, very special. We have to love ourselves because that is our natural state. Many times we don't have a positive perception about ourselves. Our perception is based on what others think. And that causes lack of confidence, lack of self-belief. And then we create these perceptions. These perceptions are so deeply ingrained because they've created over a period of years. And then we believe who we are based on other people's perception. But reality is each of you has a very unique speciality. Just like how we look different, each of us has specialities in it. You need to explore yourself to know what those specialities are. We need to have that attitude and perspective to look at specialty within others. It's very easy to look at deficiency in other people. And then that creates perception in our mind that this person is lazy, this person is this person is that, because we are just focusing on other people's imperfectionist. Because we need to look at other people's unique specialities. There is no person on this earth, I'm not talking about just in your city or in India or in your office or in your home. There's no person in this earth who doesn't have those unique capabilities or those unique specialities. Each of you, each one of us, you, me, I, all of us have something unique within us. Spend some time to explore what is that uniqueness, what makes you special. You are special. Don't doubt that. What makes you special? Befriend yourself. Spend some time yourself to understand what is that special about you. That will always keep you in excitement. That will always keep you going, even when things don't turn out the way you expect it to. So it's very important to believe in yourself, believe in your specialities, and look for specialities in others. Because when you look for deficiency in other people, their imperfection, you are actually absorbing that because you're thinking about that. And what you think, you will become that. You're collecting all the dirt from other people's by looking at their imperfections and bringing it in yourself. So from today onwards, try to look at what's unique and special in another person. Look beyond what you see and hear, but take a step back, be a witness, and just observe. Observe yourself and observe others through the lens of speciality. That would that would throw away a lot of these wasteful thoughts and bring more peace and happiness within your life because you're not spending time looking at other people's imperfections. Okay. Any questions so far? Does anyone remember the mind empowerment technique from last week? We covered the importance of revision. So if you don't revise, you will forget 80% the next day. If you revise, you will remember 60% the next day. So revision makes a constant difference, right? So any one of you, do you remember what we discussed either about the mind empowerment or what we discussed in the last session? So we'll do a quick 2-minute revision of what we covered in the data architecture session 1. So those who missed, they will get the idea about it and we'll move on to the next session. So would anyone like to summarize what we covered in the previous session? What you remember? You don't have to remember everything. Whatever you remember, please unmute yourself because that way you will start remembering more and more. You've got a lot of capacity to remember, but it's just that you don't know how to use that capacity. And there's a very simple trick to it. Revise. Constantly think about it. You revise, and you will remember everything. So would anyone like to volunteer or unmute yourself please tell us what we did last week.
Yeah, I would like to add, we had discussed on what basically data architect is based upon, like budget, timelines, quality. Apart from that, it is basically the knowledge is derived from the real estate industry. Also, we had discussed on that. How does a real estate work? That is, how is the planning construction is done in a real estate? Same way, it is done for this data architect. Apart from that, design, which is a shape or it is a pillar for any of our project when we plan. And I would like to add is how do we implement design? So basically it was, we had discussed that it is a bridge between what we need to accomplish and how can we do that.
Okay, very good, Anita. Would anyone like to add to what Anita said? Anita, just to share with others, how did you remember it? Did you revise it, or you just have natural good memory that you remembered all of it?
Actually I had noted down points, so I remembered that. Just one-liners.
Okay, okay, good. Anyone else who wants to add or do you want to share what you remember? Okay, so I'll just briefly add, please participate like Anita did, because it will help you. So I'll just do a quick add to what Anita said. So we covered 2 or 3 points. I'll cover on the focus, the most important one. We covered that architecture in general, not just data, but architecture has a lot of parallels from the construction industry. So we took the example that, if you want to build Burj Khalifa, you just don't start putting concrete and build that monument, right? If you want to build Taj Mahal, you just don't bring a bunch of laborers, collect marble and say, okay, start building Taj Mahal. It doesn't work that way. You have to build the design for it. You have to build the specs. What will be the length of the tower? How many floors would it be? And then when you start building it, right, you'll see the shape of Burj Khalifa. It's like perfect needle shape. You don't start building from the top. You start building from the bottom, right? And then you start incrementally adding to it. But when it's completely done, it's perfect. You cannot achieve that perfection without a proper design, without that proper planning. So that's the importance of design. So in IT architecture, we take those parallels. How does the construction industry able to achieve and build these skyscrapers with perfection, right? And how can we use those techniques and apply it in IT? Because as you've seen, right, in India, many times, many of these government projects, they want to build road, they want to build tunnels. There's a constant budget cost overrun, or, they want to build a bridge and, it's taking longer than they thought. An example of that is simply lack of project management. So we also discuss that no matter what project you're managing in, whether it's an IT or construction, what we are managing is cost, quality, right, and timeline. So a good project manager is always balancing those variables. So that way, you are a good project manager if you can manage those variables. And most important, we covered the definition. What is data architecture about? Does anyone remember that definition? What is data architecture? We use data architecture as managing the life cycle of something, something, something. Anyone? What is data architecture? We covered briefly definition of data architecture.
Briefly, if I have to say,
Yes.
data architecture is basically collection of various data points, consume it, and further distribute or make it more meaningful for decision making or further processing. That's the brief what I can think of.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. So we discussed, data architecture is all about the design of the movement of the data or managing the design of the life cycle of the data. So as we discussed, right, data is constantly moving from one system to the other. So as a data architect, or as part of a data architecture principle, we are managing how to effectively manage that movement of the data and the actual data itself. That's all data architecture is about. So we had a question last time, why do I need to manage the life cycle of the data? Can I not just put all the data in one place, right? Just use Excel and just do everything in one database, or just do Excel. Why do I need data architecture to manage the life cycle of the data? Does anyone remember that answer? Right or wrong doesn't matter. If even if you don't know the answer, but you think what you think is the answer, that's perfectly fine. Because when it's not the perfect answer, you will definitely remember the right answer. The reason why I'm revising is because this is a foundation, and if your foundation is weak, then whatever we learn from week 2, week 3, week 4, it will become a burden for you, and then you'll be like, this is too intensive, and you will drop. And I don't want you to drop. I want you to benefit from this course. So it's important that we are building onto this foundation. But if we don't remember what we did in the previous session, and we keep on doing more and more, this course will become a burden for you. You won't enjoy it anymore. And I want you to really enjoy it. I want you to not have to feel stress about it, that you don't have to remember anything. All you have to do is just revise for a few minutes, and then you will remember everything. But it's very important to understand, why do we need to manage the life cycle of data? What we covered in the previous session is that I want each of you to be a thinker. I don't want you to just hear what I'm saying. I want you to challenge me and saying, yes, data architecture is about managing the life cycle of data and its movement from one system to the other. But why do I need to manage it? Why do I need to move the data? Just keep everything in one place. Why do I need to move the data and add so much complexity because of data architecture? Keep everything in one place.
Yeah, Mukesh, I would like to say something. Right? So we need
Yes.
to design or architect the data system, because of we discussed in the last session of 2 or 3 reasons. Like, we need to based on our current usage and future usage of the data, we need to design the architecture of the data likewise. And it should be robust. It should not get like in Excel, if you data goes and goes and it can't handle it. Similarly, if we can have a database management system, but that's robust or not, that's one thing. So it needs to be robust, it needs to be scalable, and it should also cover the governing policies, all those aspects that needs to be incorporated into
Yeah. Good, Ashish. So, yeah.
Yeah, Mukesh, I like to add. So
Yes.
actually, the reason behind we are keeping the life cycle of data to make a comparison with previous data with newer data, so we'll make an performance or any improvement in the system.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons as well. But essentially, the problem is, right, we are moving the data. We are trying to accumulate the data in one place, but there's always movement of the data. And the reason why we need to constantly move the data and thereby manage the movement of the data is because typically in an IT system, as the organization grows, there are more and more IT systems. The IT landscape includes multiple systems. One of the most common systems in any organization, and even our retail organization, we have something called as a CRM, customer relationship management, such as Salesforce or Pega or Microsoft Dynamics 365. That's a software which we use to interact with customers. But in IT, we tend to call everything as a system. And a system not only includes the software, but includes the hardware, includes the team managing it. And it's very common in IT to give acronyms to system, right? So CRM is another IT system. there would be a reporting team, and they would be wanting data from multiple systems so they can stitch this view of this customer, because some of this customer information is in CRM, some of it is in an ERP, and some of it is in other multiple systems. So it's very natural and common in an IT organization to have multiple IT systems. The more IT systems, the more complex it gets. But essentially, because there are multiple IT systems, we need to manage the movement of the data, because there's a need to share the data, because all this data is about my customer. And if one system has some information about the customer, another system has other information about my customer, I need to be able to join all that information about the customer to create a 360-degree view of the customer. In order to achieve that end state objective, right, I need to be able to move and consolidate the data. That way I can get all this information combined. So that's also one of the most common reasons why there's a lot of data movement as such. Okay. So that's just a recap of what we did last week. If you want, you can always access the recording and go through it as well. What we want to cover today is essentially understand more about this small virtual retail organization. So you heard me say the word ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, right? So that's another common IT system, primarily used in retail, where anytime you have a supplier and a vendor or multiple vendors involved, and you've got customers and you're managing the inventory and the movement of your products that you're selling and so on. So whether it's a grocery store or whether retail store, there is an ERP system as well. So it's very common to have a CRM platform, an ERP system such as SAP, Lawson, and there are other Oracle e-business suite. There are multiple different types of ERPs, but essentially the capability is it's helping you manage the inventory of the products, what vendors or suppliers you have, how much stock you have the inventory, and then when you sell something, what is the active inventory involved. All of that is managed in ERP. Okay. So we'll start with that retail organization. We'll start small, because I want you to know how an organization grows and evolves. That way you'll get the experience of how small organizations think and how big organizations think, and how and why that evolution occurs, because that would allow you to work in a small company, allow you to work in a big company, and you'll notice the difference. In order for me to explain that and for you to understand and naturally remember that, we'll create this fictitious company. And that way it will help you understand the retail domain knowledge. So for those who are already in retail, it will be a good refresher. Those who don't have exposure to retail, it will be good to have some domain experience. Retail domain experience is always helpful because plenty of jobs, and will help you. How does a retail organization work? So we'll spend some time of it in that domain knowledge, creating that problem statement, and then we'll cover some aspect of data architecture. So we've got a fictitious retail company, right? We created roles for it. Each of you been assigned a role in it, right? And there are two key roles in it in every company. One is the business side, and the other is the IT side. So in this retail company, this fictitious retail company, we are going to sell only 5 products, right? What product it is doesn't matter. We are going to keep it as a very small company, and you'll see how the complexity adds. We're going to sell only limited 5 products, right? And we are going to sell it when someone comes and picks it up, right? No online presence, nothing. You only sell only 5 products. You're getting those 5 products either from a supplier or you're manufacturing it yourselves, right? But very limited number of products. That's all this fictitious retail company does. Yeah. Everyone clear with the goal? Please feel free to interrupt me and ask questions, but that's what this small company does. In every business, there are 2 aspects to it. One is the actual management of the business. In this case, the management of the business is selling more of those 5 products. That is the business goal. Our business goal is not adding more products or adding more vendors. Our business goal is to add more customers and sell more of these 5 products. That way we can be more profitable. That is the business goal. So we created a role. Dinesh, I think you were playing that role, because there's always friction between business and IT. So business is represented by Dinesh. Dinesh's goal is to maximize profit, right? That's how CEO would think. The CEO is always strategizing and thinking how to maximize profit. In this case, his goal is, his constraints are, I don't want to add cost. I don't want to add complexity, because to manage that complexity, it will result in the cost. And IT's sole purpose is to help business achieve its objective. It's very important to understand this, because especially when you're at the junior level, this is not explained well and we don't know why and how it works. So you're not working in an IT company. You're working in the IT department of a retail company. And the purpose of this IT department is not to write software. We are not selling software. We are in the business of selling products. The sole purpose of IT department is to help achieve business objectives. To achieve those business objectives, business is allocating some money and giving it to the PMO, which is the project management office, and saying, okay, I'm going to, give X amount of money for IT to help me achieve those business objectives. In this small company, let's say, we are very, very small, 5 products, 1 person. This 1 person is playing multiple roles, but we'll see how it grows and why different teams are created and why and how it evolves. When you're just selling 5 products and only 1 supplier, right? And you're just selling it, but someone picks it to you, they call you and they pick it up from you. So no shipping involved, no manufacturing involved. Let's say you're creating an art product, right? You're just creating fancy postcards. You just get material from the store and you're managing it as well. In that case, do you think we need IT?
Mukesh, yeah, it just depends on the 5 products, how we are going to list them, how people can access them,
Yeah.
and how we can sell them. So if I'm a customer, for example, I need to be able to see the product, what is the size, the volume, the price, and all these details. So this is what I should be able to see. If I'm not, then I can't buy the product.
Right. Absolutely. So, our business goal is to sell more of these products, right? So if I have to sell more of it, and if I just keep 10 of them in the stock and one customer says I need 50, then I'm undersupplied. And if I want to sell more, I want to always make sure I have enough stock of it. So if someone says I want 50, I've got 100 in stock. That way I'm not losing any customers. So I need to make sure, I've got a system where I know I've got enough paper, I'm building these postcards, I've got enough pens, I've got enough colors and everything to manage that inventory. And that way I know how much stock I need to keep. If I was doing internal data analysis, I would know usually how much sales I'm doing every month. That way I can forecast how much inventory I need to keep. But essentially we are doing it, but in a very subconscious way. We're not using, complicated IT software or anything. We can manage all of this in an Excel as well. So do we need IT? Yes, you need Excel, you need a computer, you need to know how much profitable you are. Because if you can't measure how much profitable you are, that's a mistake every entrepreneur and small businesses make, is that they're very driven by emotions. They're thinking they are profitable, but they are not profitable. And think as compared to the other extreme is a large organization, Fortune 10 company, Fortune 1 company. They are not only telling you how much profitable they are, they're also forecasting how much profitable they will be in the next quarter or in the next 3 months, because that's how their stock price, the value of their stock is guided based on the guidance they provide based on the forecast. So you cannot just provide a forecast based on, oh, I think, I sold this much last year, I'm going to sell this much as well. Not true. Every time, there's always some change. War is going on, people's buying habits change, the economy changes, and so on. But yet they are able to forecast with a reasonable accuracy how much their sales would be. And those sales are in billions of dollars, not millions, but billions of dollars. And they're managing not 5 products, but they are managing close to 5,000 products across 7,000 retail locations and online as well. So if you look at the other extreme, it's a lot of complex, a lot of amount of data, number crunching to be able to forecast. But let's come back to the initial small company, because we want to bring it to that, we want to maximize that sale. But in that small company, there's not much IT, but there is some IT in it. You want to know how much inventory I have, how much did I sell, how much profitable I am. Because from your business perspective, it's very important to know how profitable you are. The sole purpose of IT is to help achieve business goals. In this case, the business goal is to maximize profit, and you're maximizing profit by selling more of the limited number of products. That is the business goal. That is the business objective. That is the business strategy. Now, to achieve that goal, the strategy tells you what can you do to achieve that goal. So goal is, I want to maximize the sell of these 5 products. Business strategy would be, what can I do to maximize the sell of these 5 products, and how can IT help me sell those 5 products? So usually, right, if you want to sell more, you have to market more. It's all about marketing. It's not about how good your product is. It's about how well you're marketing your product. McDonald's does not sell the best burgers, but they have the best marketing to make you believe that you're having the best burger in the world. Reality is very different, but they spend a lot of money on the marketing, right? So it's all about marketing when it comes to business. What does your customer believe about you? What is that perception they have about you? So when a business is small, they are focusing on maximizing their sale, and IT is a key enabler in achieving that objective. How does IT help achieve that objective? Well, as Puneet was saying, we want to be able to have an online presence. I want to not only be able to just give a phone number, I want other people to be aware of it. So I need an online presence, right? I can have a physical presence as well. I can put a signage outside. I can I can use word of mouth, tell my neighbors, tell my friends about it. So those are some of the ways you can maximize the sale of the product. But the moment we bring in digital presence or online presence, now IT is an enabler. IT needs to say, okay, if you want to website, right, you need to build a website. I can either put it on the cloud, or I can build a server and put a web server on it, list those 5 products, and then be able to, list what those products are. So now I added more complexity in IT because I've got a system which says these are the 5 products, but it only says what 5 products are there. It doesn't allow me to order online. So the next time when business is growing, people are buying more products, you'll say, okay, I'll allocate some more money for IT to be able to change the website, make it from static to dynamic, where you're not only just listing those 5 products, but now you're adding a shopping cart where you can actually buy it online, because that's going to exponentially grow your business, right? And you can sell more of this. Is everyone able to hear what I'm saying? I just want to make sure I'm audible still.
Yeah,
Yes.
everyone, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay. So now you see, right, as business is growing, IT is also growing as well. Previously, we didn't have a website. Now we had a website. Now you're saying, I want people to buy over the website. So you're going to add e-commerce capability, right? So you're going to have a shopping cart. You want to have an e-commerce capability. Now, a lot of these ERP systems, they would provide this e-commerce capability. But if you just want any e-commerce capability, you can get it online. You can get a lot of, you can just subscribe or, sign up with an open source e-commerce engine. Previously, it used to be Magento. Now there are too many. So you just Google for it, you'll say, okay, IT department, please enable capability. I'm going to allocate this much money so that my digital presence, I'm able to make purchases, allow my customers to make purchases online. You also have to make sure you have search engine optimization, SEO. That way people can find your website over Google and they can make purchases. Now the problem is, you are in a city A, but the purchase was made by a customer in city B. Now you have to ship to them. So you need to find a shipping partner or be able to track what was shipped to it, right? I made a purchase last month. I made a purchase online. I have no visibility if that product was shipped or when I would receive it. So now I'm going to doubt if this is a fraudulent website or this is a legitimate website, right? So now your customers are buying, but they have no idea when they're going to get the product. So now you need to be able to add that visibility where you tell them, yes, this product was shipped today. It was sent through this, through this mail. This is the tracking number for it, and this is when you get it. Because now I know this is a legitimate website. I know when to expect it, and what to gain. I can plan ahead. But if I don't provide that information over the website, then I'm going to be more anxious. I'm not a happy customer. I'm not going to buy it again. Not going to recommend it again, right? So now I need to be able to build my relationship with a shipping partner where I can, every time I get an order over the digital, right, it's submitting that order, but I am calling to that shipping partner and say, okay, please pick up this and ship it to this. I'm doing that manually, right? I'm telling them these are the 5 orders that need to go to this city. This is the wait for it, and I have to do a lot of this manually. As my business grows, there's a need for automation. And that's where IT comes in again. Business is willing to spend billions of dollars in IT because one of the key enablers that IT is providing is automation. Instead of me manually calling that shipping company and manually weighing it myself and saying everything, I can even digitize that transaction and build that relationship with the shipping company. Where as soon as that product is manufactured or that product is available, it sends them a message or it sends them an email or it uses their API and it tells them, okay, pick up these 5 orders at the end of the day and ship it to them these addresses. That way I can automate it. So one of the other key enablers is that IT provides automation. Right? So now you see, initially it was just one Excel. Now it's growing, and I need to be able to have a portal. And now someone calls in and says, I have a problem with this, with this product. Is there a warranty associated with it? Now you need to manage and track all that interaction to provide better customer service. So now you're no longer at that point where you can survive in Excel. No, you won't be able to do it. So that's where IT comes in, and IT says, well, why don't you use Salesforce? And in Salesforce, you can manage and capture all the notes because, now you've got 2 resources, you've got 2 employees, you hired more, you employed 2 employees. When I called, I spoke with employee 1. Next time when I called, I spoke with employee 2. But employee 1 didn't tell employee 2 which customer called and what notes were taken. They entered it into the CRM system. So next time when the employee 2 comes, they will know all that interaction and they won't say, well, repeat the whole story again. What is wrong with this product? And tell me everything because the last time when you spoke, that person was different. Right? So now you need the CRM software so that way you don't have to explain everything again. Next time when you call in, they will give you a ticket number, you repeat the ticket number, or you give your customer ID, and they will be able to say, yes, I know you called on this date, and this is the this was your complaint. We understand we are working on it. This is the resolution, and this is where you are. So now I need to have a CRM system. I need to have a system to manage these 5 products. But these 5 products, now I want to grow the business. I want to okay, I've got good amount of customers. Now my business objective is slightly different. Maximize profit, but not only sell more products, but add more products to it. Now from 5, I want to go to 15. And to go to 15, I need to add 3 other suppliers who are going to provide those other products. So now I'm adding more complexity on the business side. I'm saying I want to sell more of these products. I've got the enablers in place. I know how to automate some of my business processes. I know how to grow my customer base. I need to add more products. I need to build a relationship with the vendors and be able to get more products from them, manage the supply, and be able to sell more. Now you've added more complexity because I need to be able to manage how many vendors I have. Today it's 3, it will go to 30, and it may go to even 300 to 3,000. You can certainly do in Excel because the vendor information, still 3,000 is a small number, you can say, right? But the inventory that they have, right, and how much stock I have, that's constantly changing. That is volatile data. The number of vendors, that is not changing every day. I'm not adding a vendor every day. But how much stock I have about that product, that is changing every day because I'm selling every day more. I'm getting new inventory every more. So now we're going to switch to more of the data architecture concepts. So today we are going to talk about master data. There's something called as master data management, but we're going to introduce the term master data. By definition, master data is data that is critical to your organization, which defines the value of your business. Master data is data that is critical to your organization and defines your business and defines the value of your business. In this case, in this company, master data is the vendors, the suppliers who are supplying it. Master data is not volatile. It doesn't change every day, right? Example of master data would be the number of customers I have. My organization is serving 5 million customers. Those 5 million customers shows how big the company is versus my company is serving only 50 customers versus 5 million customers. I can easily tell this is a small company which is serving 50 customers. The one which is serving 5 million customers is a big company because customer is master data. It defines the core business. What products I'm selling, that is also master data because previously my master data was only 5 products. I was selling some kind of fancy postcards. Now I'm selling candles. I'm selling other products with it, which people want to gift along with the postcard. All the products that I'm selling is master data. How much inventory and quantity I have of those postcards, that is transactional data. That is volatile. That is changing. That's fluctuating every day. I'm adding few customers every day, but not every second, right? My customer growth is 50 in the past 1 month, and it was 45. It is very slowly changing. You're not rapidly adding hundreds of customers every day. But it's core to the business. The size of my business is defined based on how many customers I'm serving, how many products I'm carrying, how many vendors or suppliers I'm working with. How many locations do I have? All of these attributes are master data. Any questions? What is master data? I want you to understand it rather than focusing on the definition. What is master data? That is defining your business. It's not volatile. Remember that key important point is it's not volatile. Transactional data is volatile. You go to the store, you buy something, you performed a transaction at the till or at the point of sale or POS, and you swipe your credit card or you pay cash. That is a transaction. You performed a transaction where you bought something and you paid for it. That is a transaction, right? But the customer who bought it and which location they bought and what product they bought, that is master data. And why that is important, we'll cover that more because there's something called as master data management or MDM. And there are specific softwares to manage master data, and those are called MDM softwares. And there are positions for MDM architect, master data management architect, where you're entirely focusing on just one aspect of data, and that is managing the master data. So what is master data? I'll repeat. It defines the core business. It defines your customers, the size of your customers. It defines what products you're selling, how many suppliers you have, how many locations you have. That's a very good example of master data. I'll take a pause over here to make sure everyone understands what's master data. Any questions so far?
Hello, Dr. Mukesh, I had a question.
Yes.
As you said that transactional data is more volatile and it varies, whereas the core business data is non-volatile master data. But couldn't we actually take like a let's say monthly average of the sales and convert the transactional data to master data?
Very good question. I'm glad you're asking these questions because it shows your thinking, right? So we actually do that. We take transactional data, we average it out, and then what we are deriving out of it is called analytical data, right? That analytical data is that data which shows it's showing the historical, right? When you're averaging it out, it's showing the historical sales. How much sales did we perform in the last quarter or in the last year? Which was the high selling product? When I'm doing that analysis, right, that is analytical data which is derived from transactional data. But we don't call that as master data because that is still changing with a lot more frequency than the master data, right? So for example, I sold 300 million worth of products, right? That's very good, valuable information, right? But that the source data that is used to derive how much is the transactional data, and that is analytical data that we use to derive from the transactional data. Master data is more towards, if you were to sell the company, they will ask you, right, what is your customer base? How many products are you selling? The amount of growth is definitely important, but a lot of the derived numbers from it, how much are you profitable, right? In which geographies are you selling? All those are also important. But where are you selling? How much you are selling? That all is important. But very fundamental and core to the business is master data because it's not volatile. But most important, to answer your question a better way, is why do you want to manage it? Because it has a direct impact on the operations of your business. For example, which products am I selling, right? I'm selling 5 products. I want to sell 15 products. That has a direct impact on the business, right? Whereas this is post-derived. How much sales I did is already, something I'm analyzing. But if I want to create more sales, what is driving that sales factor is how many products am I selling? So master data is helping you drive and achieve growth, and it's defining how big you are, or it's helping you define the growth of the business. Whereas analytical data is giving you an indicator how much is that growth. Customers, the size, the number of customers is going to tell you, is indicative of how much growth you have. The number of location is indicative of how much expansion you have in which geographies and so on. So master data is driving the growth. Analytical data is reflecting that growth in terms of those numbers. So this is a slight distinction, but I want to make sure, is the distinction clear?
Yes, thank you very much. So suppose if one goes into planning and forecasting, so the target variable is growth, but the tweaking variable is the master data. I mean, is that the case that the indicator variable, we try to the policy changes are with respect to the master data, but the target, I mean, the indication or what we need to increase basically is the transactional data,
Yeah.
right?
So we need to, right. So we need to analyze all kinds of data. So in an organization, right, there's a lot of different types of data. First is the transactional data, right? When you perform a transaction at the store, you're creating transactional data, right? That transaction is saying a purchase was made for $3 for this customer with this customer ID on such and such date and such location ID, and that location ID defines a specific store. In this transaction data, there is master data reflected because this transaction was performed by which customer? I'm saying the customer ID. It was performed at which location? Was it in a physical store or was it in an online store? I'm specifying that location ID. So transactional data includes master data as well. Now this transactional data we are accumulating, right? And we are analyzing this accumulated transactional data, not just for one stores, but let's say, you have 10 stores. I want to be able to look at my growth across the company, not just for one location. If I'm looking at just one location, I'm looking at it operationally. I'm just looking at, what is my operational data. So I'm introducing new terms so that way it would become easier to understand as well. When operational data is something easier, the best way to remember is operation theater. What does a doctor do? Doctor performs operation. When a doctor is performing an operation, right, the doctor is looking at the past, but when they're performing the operation, they've already analyzed the past and they're focusing on the current operation. If they are performing a lung operation, the doctor is not going to go into the past and say, why did you keep smoking so many cigarettes? I told you, I warned you not so, but you still kept doing so. I'm not going to do the operation because you didn't listen to me, right? Doctor doesn't say that. Doctor is focused on whatever the cause was, whatever the reason was, the doctor is going to focus on the operation. He's got the operational data, which is what is the blood pressure? What is the blood supply right now? That is operational data, right? Once that surgery is over, then the hospital will look at all that operational data and use the analytical data. How many of these operations were successful? That is analytical data. Which doctor has highest success rate in operations? That is analytical data. That is derived using the operational data. So my transactional data, if I'm using it, so how you use the data gives that attribute to the data, right? So you see there are a lot of terminologies we are using. We are saying, we've got transactional data, master data, operational data, analytical data. But all these attributes that we are attaching in front of the data, it's based on how that data is consuming, right? So if I'm using that transactional data for day-to-day operations of my business, that data becomes operational data. If I'm using my transactional data to analyze the performance of my business by aggregating and averaging the total number of transactional sales volume, that becomes my analytical data that shows I've done 100 million worth of sales in the past three months or 3 years or 30 years. That time window defines, what is operational for you versus what is analytical. But if I'm adding the keyword master data in front of it, then I'm using master data to drive the growth of my business by managing those master data. So in this example, we said, first, how did we start the business? We said, I want to maximize the number of my customers. I want to grow my customers. I didn't say, I want to keep a target of, I want to do a sale of X amount. Yes, that sale of X amount was broken into, I want to increase my customer base. I want to increase my customer. What was driving the growth? What was driving the volume, that dollar amount or the rupees amount was the number of customer growth. What is driving the sales in my business is increasing the number of product. What is driving the sales in my organization is having a digital presence or having an online presence or expanding the number of locations. So if any of this data is contributing towards the growth of my business, it is so important to manage that data because it's critical to the functionality of the organization. And that is called as master data. Is it clear now? What is master data? What is transactional data? What is operational data? And what is analytical data? I know it may be confusing. We'll keep elaborating it, but at least you're hearing these buzzwords, so you know what are the different types of data. We'll also cover, right? There are a lot of different attributes to data, and we'll cover it in other sessions. But I just want you to be aware. I'm throwing these words so that way you start familiarizing it, right? There's something called as dark data. There's something called as, based on the consumption of, so transactional data, operational data, what purpose you're using the data for, right? That defines, whether it's operational data or analytical data. What data is driving or defining the core operations of your business, that is master data. Transactional data is data that is used in your daily operations of your business, that is transactional data, right? Data that you don't have a good understanding about and is just data lying somewhere is called as dark data. Yeah. Then you have big data. Big data is nothing but, it consists of multiple attributes of data. One is volume. Based on the amount of data that you've collected, we call it as, this is large volume data. And there's something as variety of data. How that data is captured and stored, right? Whether it's stored in a relational database or whether it's stored in a semi-relational or a NoSQL database, we call that as, the variety. Structured data, unstructured data, semi-structured data. Don't worry about it. We'll cover it again and again. But data has a lot of different attributes. Those attributes define your data based on how you're consuming it, how you're using it. If that data is driving the growth of your business, it's core to the operations of your business, and how you're going to use that data. Okay. Let me do a time check to make sure how much time we've got. Okay. I'll take a pause over here, and we have to cover a mind empowerment technique as well. But this is a good stopping point to see what we've covered. I'll summarize what we've covered today. We did a quick recap of what data architecture is, why we need to manage the movement of the data, because there are so many, as you saw in this example, we added a website, we added an IT system, we added a CRM system, we added an ERP system to manage those vendors and suppliers and inventory. So from an Excel-based organization, added 3 more systems, right? CRM system, web platform, and an ERP system. And the web platform could be a component of the ERP system. But I grew from an Excel to an IT organization with 2 systems, with the sole purpose of achieving the purpose of IT is not to sell more software. For a software company, that is their goal. But an IT department in a business organization, the sole purpose of IT is to support, achieve business objectives for which business allocated a budget. And now using those budget, you're helping business grow by introducing more automation, right? By helping grow the business. So we covered those aspects, and we covered what are the different attributes of data based on how we are defining or consuming that data. So we covered what is transactional data, what is operational data, data that is used in day-to-day operations. We covered what is analytical data and what is briefly master data. Any questions? And then we'll cover another mind empowerment technique. But I want to make sure you don't have unanswered questions, but at least you have some good understanding of what are the different types of data.
This big data is only large volume data. I thought it
No,
was some
yeah, it
particular.
has 3 V's to it. Yeah, we'll cover big data in depth. So
Oh,
big data, it has 3 V's to it. Sometimes IBM calls it as 4 V's as well. But the attributes, so big data is a collective term which includes 3 attributes, 3 or 4 attributes of data. One is the size of the data. How much is the volume of the data? So as data keeps accumulating, the size of your database or the size of your data will increase over the period of time. So that is the volume of the data. The second attribute is variety of the data. Is this structured data, or is it semi-structured data or unstructured data? Video, if I have a video file, that is unstructured data. If I have an audio file, that is unstructured data. If I have images, that is unstructured data. Structured data is any data that I can put in Excel, right? It has rows and columns. That is structured data. Any data that is put in a database, that is structured data. So you manage structured data in a relational database management system, such as Oracle or Microsoft SQL Server or PostgreSQL. There are a lot of other database vendors, but you're managing structured data in a RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. But in a relational database management system, you have structured data. Well, you can nowadays store semi-structured data, which is stored, how your data is stored in what structure, that we call as the structure of the data. So if you're storing your data in an XML format, or if you're storing it in a JSON format, we call that as semi-structure, because the structure of the data is defined in a schema. That is semi-structured data. Image doesn't have any structure. You cannot run a SQL query on an image. So that is unstructured data. So one is volume of the data. Second is the variety of the data. Third is the velocity of the data. Velocity of the data is how fast your data is moving from the point of production to the point of consumption. If you're streaming the data in real time, right, then that is called as fast data. If you're using a batch process to move data from system A to system B, that is batch data. It has a lot of latency or delay in moving that data. That is slow data. Fast data, I have a sensor. The fridge has a sensor. I have an environment sensor. It captured the sensor reading. It transmitted right away to the phone. That is fast data. You have a blood monitoring device at the patient. It's streaming this data right away to a central location where someone is monitoring it. That is fast data because it didn't wait and accumulate all of it. And there's something called as, veracity, or, what is the quality of the data? IBM uses 4 Vs. But, is it good quality data? Is it bad quality data? So the quality of the data is terms of good, bad. That's also another attribute. But if you take those 3 key attributes, that's the general definition. Volume of the data, variety of the data, and the velocity of the data. Those 3 key attributes typically define big data. So that's what big data is. Okay. Any other question? Yes, XML file is a semi-structured data, Pooja. Okay. Does anyone want to add anything to whatever I said? Okay. If not, I would strongly encourage you to revise, right? And we'll do a revision next week, but I want to make sure all of you are contributing in that revision, right? And you're remembering it, because the reason why data architecture is complex is because there's lots to remember in it. But if you constantly revise it, you will remember it. It's a proven technique. Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Mukesh, is there any documentation or any PPT for this?
Yes, I do actually. I'm traveling at the moment. That's why I'm not able to share it. But next week onwards, I'll be able to share PPTs as well. But till then, and these sessions are very fluid based on the questions and everything. But as we stabilize the team and we know where we are, I'll share PowerPoint slides as well. That way, it will be easier for and quicker for you to revise as well. Definitely, we'll do that. Okay. Any other suggestion or any other thoughts, any other comments?
I just wanted to check with you. Actually, I got to know that before these sessions, the data analyst sessions are already done. So, is there any possibility that I can attend those?
Yeah, those are already recorded. So probably, if you reach out to Mr. Sanjeev Gupta on,
Yeah.
the WhatsApp channel, he'll be able to give you access to those recordings. But we covered, what is data analysis, how to use pandas, and we had training for Python as well. So if you cover those, recordings and any questions we have, we can still answer that.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Okay. With that,
Mukesh, I have one question.
yes, yes.
So the variety of data, so in retail or some other organization, we are using only unstructured and structured data, or means the semi-structured data also?
It's a
Like
combination.
in
Yeah, it's a
combination.
combination. So previously, if you asked me this question 10 years back, there would be a very simple answer saying all data is structured data. Now it is a combination, and I'll cover why. Why did we have NoSQL databases? Why do we have semi-structured data? And it'll be good, to share an example of what an XML file looks like, because there are a lot of junior testers as well. They may not have even seen a XML file, so we need to share what is an XML file. But we'll cover all of that as well. Why we have more variety of data. Previously, it was all relational. Why add more complexity and why have semi-structured data?
Okay, understand. Thank you.
Yep.
Dr. Mukesh, one more thing, like you are, progressing this topic very fluidly and very, kind of a thing. But yes, of course, if one suggestion is that for the next class, what are the topics you are going to cover? I mean, we can also come prepared.
Yes. So next class, if anyone wants to volunteer, right, I want to cover a little bit about databases and about what is the life cycle of data. When we are moving data from system A to B, what are these systems, and how data moves from a database into a data warehouse. So in the next session, we'll be covering more about what is a database versus what's a data warehouse, but more about the life cycle of data, because we covered in the definition, we are managing the life cycle of data. So in the next session, we are going to focus more on databases and data warehouses and why and how data is moving across IT systems. What are the common IT systems? What is moved by, data gravitates, right? Data has gravity. It moves from all the systems into the data warehouse. But why and how we are using operational data? How is analytical data used? Where data analysis is done in this life cycle data? We'll cover those aspects. Okay. Thanks for the suggestion. We'll definitely cover what's next week in the previous one. So if anyone wants to download any database, that would be good, especially if you want to be a data architect. You should, I'm assuming you already know what a database is, you know what SQL is, but even those who are testers or, data engineers should definitely, it's a must, it's compulsory that you've downloaded some database. They're very free. You can just download MySQL and download it on your machine and, just start playing with the database.
So any DB will be okay, or only MongoDB? Or
Now, MongoDB is a NoSQL database. It's a different type of
yes,
database.
and yeah.
But it would be good to install that as well, because that way, you'll get a better understanding. So those who want to be 2 steps ahead and want to help prepare and, plan for it, I would strongly suggest download MySQL, MySQL, as the relational database management. It's free. Download the community edition for it. And for those who want to, data engineers, download MongoDB as well. MongoDB is a NoSQL database. But we'll try to cover in the next week's class what are databases, including RDBMS and NoSQL, and what are data warehouses.
So, Dr. Mukesh, MS Access is sufficient for now, or do we have to download MySQL?
The reason why I don't prefer MS Access is because if you put that on your job, they'll think, you're outdated, you're not in touch with IT. And mostly, it's not very SQL friendly. I think nowadays maybe it is, but it's not a real database. But previously in the old days, like 15 years back, Access was used as a database. But now no company uses Access as a database. So I would strongly suggest not using Access, but using at least MySQL as a database.
How do you spell Mongo? Mongo data?
Mongo.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. For those who are in testing as well, it's important to be aware of different types of databases, because then that will help you test, right? Is data inserted properly? Is data being migrated properly, and so on. So the more hands-on you'll be, the more questions you'll have, and then you can use this session to ask the questions as well. Okay. Any other questions? If no other questions, we'll share the mind empowerment technique. So today we want to talk about what empowers the mind is the power of determination. We spoke about it previously as well, but it's so important that you're using this power of determination. Last week, in our last week's mind empowerment, we talked about willpower, right? So today we want to talk about another power, which is the power of determination. You made a determination that you want to see the good in others, and you want to start with yourself, and you want to see the good within you. You are very special. You're very unique, right? But you need to be determined with that thought, because today you will see that uniqueness in yourself. Tomorrow, again, you'll forget and you'll come back to this state that you're so accustomed and used to, that new state, which is really not the natural state, but you're just used to that way of thinking. Determination is a power, because when you are determined to do something, when you're determined to learn a new thing, when you're determined to download the database and do something about it, in that step, the real power from that thought of that determination comes when you use the essence of time. If you have a determined thought, right, and if you just don't do anything about it, it will decay. It will lose its power. The power in determination comes in when you constantly act on it and you repeatedly act on it. So time is of great essence when you want to use this power of determination. I am determined to do something, but if I don't repeat that to myself, right, and I forget about it, that power is lost. Same thing happens on a New Year's Day resolution. Same thing happens when you take these new resolutions on your birth date or a new day, on a New Year's Day. You've seen that yourselves. I'm sure all of you experienced. You make a lot of determinations. You vow this, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. But within few days, you're back to normal, because you didn't add that power of determination to that powerful thought. And the way to do that is repeat that, remind yourself every day that I am determined to do it, right? You have to remind it every day until you become what you've determined that you want to do, right? And reinforce that thought. That power of determination, right? The more determined you are, the more will be the reinforcement and the more will be the positive outcome. Yeah, that's one important thing. Second is, to achieve that power of determination, you have to believe in yourself. You are determined to learn data architecture, but someone else comes and says, I tried doing this, but it's very difficult. It's a waste of time. Don't do it. Another person says, no, it's very good. It's very good, but there are no jobs in it. Now your power of determination is fluctuating based on other person's beliefs. Someone says do it, other person says don't do it. Now you're confused. But when you believe in yourselves, you are determined in yourselves, and you're not going to be easily influenced by others, because you believe in yourself. And that self-belief comes when you experience it yourself. Right now, you don't experience what you believe, and then it looks like a far-fetched goal. This is a cycle. It has a feedback loop to it. You make one determined thought, you reiterate that determined thought, and you experience the outcome of that thought. That reincarnates in yourself that self-belief that, yes, I can do what I determined to do, because you know the process now. And then whatever determinations you make, it has more willpower to it. So you have to experience with what you determined, what you are determining that you want to achieve. And this experience will be the foundation for your long-lasting success. It doesn't happen overnight, but it happens when you start applying this. If you don't apply, it will take years, and you will be in that same state where you're making New Year's resolution, right? New Year is going to come pretty soon. You're going to make that resolution within few weeks, if not within few days, that resolution will be nowhere. So you need to start preparing and using this power of determination. It's a multi-step process. You keep that goal in front of you. You keep that determined thought of you. You believe in that thought. You don't change your belief based on what other people believe in it. Whether they believe in it or not, that is their problem. You are determined, stay tuned to that goal, see that goal clearly, and then you will achieve what you think you are. The more determined you are, the more reiteration you give to that thought, the more power it carries, right? And then when you combine it with the power of self-belief, you are going to achieve what you want. Nothing can stop you. So explore these powers within you, explore the specialities within you, be an observer for your own thoughts. That way you will know yourself better, and you'll be able to be a good friend to yourself, where you're not constantly demeaning yourself and pushing yourself down, saying, I can't do this, I've never done it, everyone thinks I cannot do it. No. If you believe in yourself that you can do it, doesn't matter what others believe about you. They will start believing you once you start believing in yourself. With that, we can end this session unless anyone has any question or anyone wants to share their practical experience about any of the mind empowerment techniques. Thank you very much, all of you.